there is only one indigenous broadcaster championing the cause for the restoration of Biafra. Biafra Human Rights Radio. Of course, unstoppable and remains the beacon of truth. It has been since yesterday, and it is today and forever.
From the beginning of human history, diabolic people have persistently used God's name to commit heinous atrocities all over the world. Wars become more bloody when religious sentiments are attached. Enemies see each other as abominable infidels that deserve to die. During the Nigeria-Biafra War, atrocities and war crimes were obviously committed, but the international community failed to identify or recognize the ethnic and religious implications. However, the purpose of this work is neither to apportion blames nor criticize anyone, but to preserve history and to let our younger generations who were not born during the struggle know the kind of songs used to boost the morals of the Biafran soldiers.
butere ya komando. Ebute butere ya komando. Ebute butere ya komando. Ụmụ beri manoruo Chineke ntị. Odumegwu Ojukwu chibaye. Ụmụ beri manoruo Chineke ntị. Odumegwu Ojukwu chibaye. Nwoke mara mma chibaye. Ndị ahụ ọnụ chibaye. Odumegwu Ojukwu chibaye.
Most of the Biafra war songs aimed derogative invectives of the Nigerian government of oligarchy, who directed the killing of innocent Biafra women and children by imposing blockade on Biafra. All human contact with the outside world was cut off. Hence, the Nigerian military junta added hunger to the already existing weapons of mass destruction in their arsenal. Neither food nor medicine were allowed into Biafra. Hence, malnutrition begot kwashiorkor, also known as Harrow's syndrome.
We are Biafrans fighting for our freedom. By the name of Jesus, we shall conquer. We are Biafrans fighting for our freedom. By the name of Jesus, we shall conquer. Biafra fighting for our freedom. By the name of Jesus, we shall conquer. We are Biafrans fighting for our freedom. By the name of Jesus, we shall conquer. Ojukwu imela, imela, Ojukwu imela. Agama for the man to the moon down bush. They got to see imela, Ojukwu imela. Imela, Ojukwu imela. Imela, Ojukwu imela. Agama soro na kibebule ambush. Erezimo madisino bandiro. Imela, Ojukwu imela.
And of course we can go on and on and on and on and on and on, but sometime along the way it is important to take a stop. You just pause a while. The essence is to be able to cover more ground, or rather should I say sometime to be able to cover more ground. It is expected you pause a little while. And of course this evening I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you good night depending on your time zone. This is Radio Biafra Extra, and we are streaming live through Biafra Human Right and Freedom radio station. This platform is the embodiment of pro-Biafran group, and it is being anchored by Diokpa Uche Ukafo Mefo, who hails from Abatete in Anambra State. The man who has simply assured us that he will not allow the heart of this project to see corruption, because in the real sense, if we need to do as we are going to do tonight, to cast back our mind, of course a moment of sober reflection, and understand the level of sacrifice made by the generation before us, no normal human being in his right senses can ever allow the issue of Biafra to be sabotaged, not to talk of allowing it to become personification, corruption in personification. I am George ONYIBE, and I hail from Agbo Anyoma province, to be precise, in Delta State. This evening, as customary demand on this platform, I acknowledge every member of the de facto customary government. These are pro-Biafran groups on different platforms with different ideology, but they understand the implication why all of us must work as one entity, creating an impenetrable unit where we can be able to come to a point where all our energy will be discharged on a single focal point. Acknowledge every member of the de facto customary government, being headed by Alhaji Asare Dokubo, deputized by Sister Rita Nebogo, and of course you have Dr. Nwokinkwo on the aspect of the parliament. You have our brother Mazi Kenawanonini, and of course we have numerous other people, Chena Sibu in charge of Funlands Affairs, and so many others to be mentioned. Of course I cannot leave out our brother Dr. Uchenna Nwokinkwo, who is the secretary and financial, should I say general, a very wonderful man, I must tell you, and many others. Our brother Nwonyinyo, you are highly appreciated, all of you. What you are doing, Biafrans, thank you for it. One day they will thank you for it. Of course, it's not too clear to them what you people are doing, but they are taking record anyway. I acknowledge members of the Biafra nation, just like every other pro-Biafran group, just like every other body trying to stop this evil being perpetuated in the guise of one Nigeria. I'm talking about nepotism, I'm talking about tribalism, I'm talking about emasculation, I'm talking about corruption, I'm talking about cannibalism. I say I'm talking about wickedness of the highest order. And believe me, you choose to stand aside. Some believe the solution to this predicament we have found ourselves is constitutional amendment, constitutional review. We got to bring down the 1999 constitution. Yes, let there be devolution of power. Of course, there is need for resource control. Let us consider the Bill of Rights. And then a lot of things are coming from the same region, and that means something is really not right. And we have different ideology. Believe me, whatever way you follow, it leads to one direction. We must be free. We must be allowed to be the author of our destiny. For God's sake, we are human. The right to exist, the right to self-determination, the right to be the author of your destiny, the right to be you was first of all God-given before there was anything like United Nations. And of course, even in the modern days, Nigeria acknowledge it. It's in their charter. Members of the Biafra nation has taken it upon themselves. They remain a very shelter for those who are being hunted down, for those who are being persecuted, for refusing to identify with evil. And so you are highly appreciated, from the administrators to the media department, of course the board of trustees, and every other genuine member across the globe. I say good evening to you. Your effort can never be undermined. We have our brother Ojukwu, Aslem William, and of course Mazepolo Kumukum, and others too numerous to mention. You are welcome this evening. And of course, I move on to acknowledge our misguided brothers Nnamdi Kanu. They are the reason why we are here. All the IPOB zombies, Mugo. Understand, it's not all of them. Some of them, a large number of them are zombie. Very big animal called idiot. Very big. Their own is, but in fact, their own has been genetically enhanced. Just look at IPOB person in the face. If they are standing before you, you will see a very agric zombie, very powerful agric zombie. They can't see it, they don't know. But if you are with any IPOB person now, look at their face. Only very few still look like human being. And if you follow them on Facebook, you see them doing what they are doing on my platform. They say you are good, you are animal, you are idiot, you don't have sense. Sabo, that is who they are. That is their cause. But believe me, they were not always like this. Somewhere along the line, the system was compromised, and the plague affected so many of them. But they don't know they've been infected by this virus of propaganda, blackmail, and character assassination. They still think they are fighting for their fatherland. If you see them, Melu Obiri, have mercy on them. Pray so they can get themselves on time, because it's dawning upon them already. China Sanguru, Chiki Dozem, and other criminal in the guise of the DOS, please power your Yahoo career freedom fighter. Those you could send them, let them insult. And now I have to repeat this over and over. The next generation must know what we have gone through. And believe me, when we say we go nowhere, most of you seems not to get the mindset behind it. We are not backing down. We are not backing down. Because we cannot be broken. Neither are we going to be broken. You see? So indigenous people of Nnamdi Kanu, that is your cause. Begin to insult your father and your mother. But we are your destiny. I am your destiny. And I am your doom. A matter of time, you will get the message very clearly. And this having been said, acknowledge men and women of goodwill across the globe most of you are not Biafrans, but you identify with us anyway in this struggle, in this very predicament. Your prayers are with us, we know this, and I can assure you tonight that our prayers are also with you. Acknowledge the creator of heaven and earth, the one who has set our feet upon this path that we must follow. Imegi Chineke o, kanye nwa tụkwasị olileanya. Imegi Chineke o, kanye nwa tụkwasị olileanya o, onye nwe m. Agbabago m ụlọ gị, ekwela ka ihere m, ekwela ka ndị ụwa jụ m, kelebe kachi gị n'ọgba o. Daddy he that tụrụ ugwu gị o, akpata na-ekwu nwa o, he that tụrụ ugwu gị o, ụga kara kerugo. He that tụrụ ugwu gị o, anya n'elu ụwa m o, he that tụrụ ugwu gị n'ụga kara kerugo. Take all the glory, Father. N'ihi na onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akarị ike Chukwu. And of course, without wasting much of our time, we move on to our program this evening. They continue to disseminate this information. We continue to appeal to the Creator to open the eyes of our people that they may be able to see the wondrous truth in His words. And in the end, we will still come back together and gather under this same platform, giving Him all the glory because He has done great things for us as a people. And so this evening, just like other evening may be different in one way or the other, our topic is simply titled The Heroic Sacrifice of Dame Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. The heroic sacrifice of Dame Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu on the state of Biafra. Once in a while, it is necessary for a moment of re-evaluation regarding our life as related to the conduct and activities. Once in a while, you need to cross-examine yourself. You need to evaluate your stand at the moment. It's very important, because that will become the motivating factor that will either help you to move forward or at least maintain your current position instead of moving backwards. Tonight, let us flash back on the sacrifice of our fallen heroes and heroines, paying more attention on the person of Dame Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. I started this evening broadcast even without singing the national, playing the national anthem, with a war song that was made by war veterans. And the commentator on that very album made it clear that that work was not to cast an assertion on anybody, but to help the next generation understand what they did, some of the things they did to be able to get to where they are today. Most of those people are almost gone. Some of them are still alive anyway. And here I am. I was not even born then. Who would have told me that even in the midst of this misery, when there were hunger and starvation, where every weapon of mass destruction, including hunger and starvation, were deployed against us as a people, in the midst of this confusion, they still had the time to compose music that even the dead Igbo man, the dead Biafra man, at the sound of this music, their body moved. You will understand that it was not the pain that motivates them. You will understand that it was not the enemy bullet that motivated them. You will understand that it is not the influence of saboteurs and betrayers that motivate them. They were, like the Bible says, looking for a city where the maker alone is God. And today we are at the same point. It is not the hatred of anybody that drives us, neither it is the love of anybody that compels us to do what we are doing this moment, but facing it realistically. We cannot allow the memory of these people to wipe out. And so, let us have a clear view and proper re-evaluation of the following issues. Like I said, we will be paying more attention on Dame Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu for clarity's sake. Following issues as regard to the people's general, it will enable us to examine our actions, our conduct in the coming days, most especially when each consequence of our actions can be detrimental to the next generation. But let us take a look at Ojukwu, because for all I know, if Ojukwu have messed up this system, none of us will have the guts to talk about Biafra. Nigeria did all they can. Not only did they wipe out Biafra from the map of Africa, from the map of Nigeria, from the map of Biafra itself, a lot of things were done. Let's focus on the person Ojukwu, but do not forget that he has loyalists. He has brothers and sisters who stood by him, even though most of them could not understand his mission. But the spirit that guides him shone a light in their way, that instead of them to back down on Ojukwu, as far as Ojukwu walk within the stipulated principles and agreement, they rather die. Most of them were offended. Most of them were not happy. They didn't want to register their displeasure. Why? Because they saw something in them, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, that is yet to be discovered in every man. You know, along the line, we thought our brother Nnamdi Kanu was something like that. We thank God we have not gotten Biafra, and we see the clear picture. Now, let me make you understand one or two things before we begin to review who Ojukwu is, why he did what he did, what we must learn from him and his men in their own generation, how we must work hard to amend our way as of when necessary, and then focus, put our energy on the real thing, so at the end of the day, we do not put the next generation in more trouble than we are already. Let me give an illustration, maybe to be able to draw you back home. There was this carpenter. He's a builder. He served a very firm, a company, for a very long time. And then he got to a stage in his life and he decided to move on. Maybe in search of greener pasture, so he has to resign from the company, the construction company. He went to his boss and said, "Sir, for some reason I want to relocate, and so I am tendering my resignation letter, which I want you to consider." And the boss looked at him and said, "Well, your request is noted, but I have to beg you a favor. Please, I want you to handle one more project for me, and once you conclude that project, I can then let you go. Please, help me do this." And the man said, "It's okay. Let's begin." They showed him a site, gave him, asking to design 2-bedroom flat, and then they asked him to, he was the one making recommendation. In fact, let's say he was the quantities of fuel. He made plans, he made recommendation, he bought the material, he handled this project from A to Z. While he was doing that, he was, doing sharp, yahoo. He was withholding some money. He was thinking he was cheating the director. When he's supposed to buy aluminium roofing sheet of 1,000, he will buy that of 200. When he's supposed to buy good cement product, he will buy the fake one. To him, this is the last opportunity. Let me hammer these people. After this project, I am gone. He thought it was a boost, a step forward in his next stage of life. He managed to complete the building. He stole the hair. He robbed the hair out of the company. The director knew, but he was just looking at him. And after a while, he completed the building. He took the document, the keys to the apartment, and gave to his director and said, "The house is completed. May I leave at this moment?" The director said, "Yes, actually you may leave, but before then, take the document back, take the key. I actually wanted to compensate you. I want to compensate you with that building. You have served me very well, at least to the best of my knowledge." The man couldn't rejoice. Millions of thoughts went through his head. If he had known that this building was actually going to be given to him, you know what he would have done. Your guess is as good as mine. He would have bought the most expensive zinc in the market. He would have bought the most expensive building materials. He would have used the most expensive, beautiful painting material in the market. I tell you, that house would have been heaven on earth. But little did he know that the house was for him. And so he showed his true color. And then in my place they will say, he who do he, do he. And that is if you understand. Today, most of us, as far as this Biafra restoration project is concerned, we are doing the same thing. As far as this Biafra restoration project is concerned, most of us are behaving like this carpenter. So you are about to go. Now the cattle has connected this morning, so he got to go. Let him destroy it. After him, nobody talks about Biafra. But little did he know he's doing to himself. He's doing this to himself. Some of you are bloggers. You have to support evil, promote evil, because you need follower. One day you will know you are doing all this evil on your expense. Just relax a moment and ask yourself a little question. This my action, can it be justified before God? If you are character assassinating somebody, if you are blackmailing somebody, if you are killing somebody, do you think you have the moral right to do that? Do you think if God would have come to stand before you this moment, he can tap you on the shoulder and say, I'm proud of you, my son? Can even your earthly parents be proud of you for what you are doing? Has your conscience forgiven you? In most cases, you think you are fighting an individual. You fight yourself. Only on one condition. The man who had the building, it's a plus to him. The man who have this building, which is a plus to him, but there is no joy. That was not the perfect gift of God. Now you understand when the Bible says the gift of God maketh increase and does not add any sorrow. That house will haunt him for the rest of his life. Because when rainy season comes, the roof is going to leak and he's going to cry. If I had known, and I can assure you, all of you criminals in the name of Biafra Restoration Project, you will cry. And there will be nobody to console you. Because shame will not allow you to tell them what you have done. But the time has not come upon you yet. Have a pause and rethink. Try to reevaluate, reconsider the other side of this story. And we think some of the things we are doing here is what we really want. Far be it from it. But it's necessary. And so we understand the difference between what we want and what we need. What you want is not as important as what you need. A child can want everything. Ask your child, what do you want? That child is going to give you 1,001 thing that he or she wants. Daddy, I want chocolate. Mommy, I want ice cream. Mommy, I want Fanta. I want cake. He will want everything. But you as the father have the true knowledge. My child maybe wants chocolate, they want toy, they want Christmas clothes, they want to eat chicken, they want to take ice cream. The father understands the child wants all these things. But the most important thing for the father is the father knows they don't really need them. And so that helps the father to be able to discipline the child and focus on giving them what they need. They need education. They need to be fed. They need medical health facilities available for them. They need to be loved. They need to be protected for God's sake. Whether they ask for it or not, you have to give it. So the role we are playing on this form, on this platform, in a time like this, it's not making you to get what you want. We want to give to you what you truly need. Because in the end, look at the issue regarding Dean Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. And I want to ask, who is Dean Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu? Who is Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu? Because of course these days people have different perspective and view of him. Each time we'll sit down and we analyze who Ojukwu is. his friends from afar, those who do not understand him, most of them are against him somehow, but they cannot give you a vital reason, important reason why they are not in support. Most people fought against him even without knowing who he is. They acted based on what they heard, mere gossip. But they cannot come out openly and tell you Ojukwu did this, Ojukwu did that. Ojukwu, no, it's not Ojukwu, not the one I know, not the Timba of Newi, not the one I know. But am I here to tell you he's a perfect man? He's dead already, he has moved on. But we must tell this story so the next generation will understand that even though you are dead, if you serve your people sincerely, if you fight for your people in truth and honesty, Jesus said to his disciples, those who believed in me, though they are dead, but yet shall they live. Go and look at the resurrection of Lazarus. And so those who serve their people in truth and honesty, in fairness, in sincerity, though you will die, but then shall you live. Ojukwu is not here. We continue talking about him. But the beautiful thing there is, we're not talking about his sinful. We talk about his achievement. His influence on his people, our people, which cannot be equaled by anybody. Go and assemble all of them who work with being Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. He died maybe 78 years ago. 78 at the age of 78 years, which is maybe younger. He died earlier than Yakubu Gowon, Olusegun Obasanjo, Ibrahim Babangida, and the rest of it. But go and ask the like of these men in their closest. I say, who is this man? You will understand. You will understand that they can sponsor hatred against him, they can sponsor attack against him, but they can never be him. They all wish to be Ojukwu. They can never be him. All the governors of all the region at that era, how many of them do you know their name? Because if I was not from the Midwestern region, I don't think I would know about Obomudia. In fact, for a very long time, I never knew Obomudia was the governor of the Midwestern region. Let us continue so we'll be able to see how fast we can go. Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu was born on the 14th of November 1933, and he died on the 26th of November 2021. He was a Nigerian military officer, a statesman. He served in the military as a governor of the eastern region of Nigeria, of course, in 1966. And he was the leader of the breakaway, supposedly, Republic of Biafra. And that is between 1967 and 1970. Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu was born into a family of Louis and Grace Ojukwu. Of course, in a community known as Zungeri in Niger State, currently Nigeria. He grew up, of course, at that moment. Zungeri was the head office of the imperialists as far as the Northern Protectorate was concerned. It was there before the amalgamation. He was born close to the corridor of power. I believe as a childhood, growing up in Zungeri, he knew what was obtainable. And so having gone through academic process, his father may have a different mindset for him. But having been learned, having been studied, having been enlightened as an educated man, one without equal in his time, go and ask Babangida, go and ask Obasanjo, go and ask Gowon. None of them went to school. None of them went to school. Forget about Harare degree and Oruro degree. I want to believe in his time, outside the likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe or Bafemi Awolowo, Wolo Soyinka, there were very few intellectuals. He was one of them. Outstanding. And of course, I'm not comparing him to the Eastern region, because I still continue to wonder with the level of intellectuals we have. Ojukwu didn't get the necessary support. How many where do I have to start from? But let's stop there at first. He joined the civil service. He worked under this office of the imperialist in their protectorate domain. What do I call it? And then after which he moved on. Some would say he needed to build a career in order to break down from his father's influence. He joined the military. You were the one saying this. You are not his father. And certainly you cannot say the reason why he did what he did. You know, sometimes we are born for a purpose. And I want to believe he discovered his way on time. Because sometimes Nigerians come and tell you rubbish about Ojukwu. We have been told all those things. As a child, they used to teach us a song in school. I never understood it until lately. Let me digress and sing that song before we continue. The song goes like this. Ojukwu wanted to fight Nigeria. Go and say Nigeria must win. We are going to fight together to make Nigeria one. It was a game. When I say a one, a two, a three, koye worry. Those of you born in my region, you will understand. We were practically taught not to hate only Ojukwu, but the whole of Igbo. Most people know this thing, but if they come out and say it's a lie, this is because they don't even understand they were being reprogrammed. So from their subconscious mind, they speak today. Deliver yourself for God's sake. If you were born the same time I was born, if you went to school the same time I went to school, you will know I do not lie. What do I gain? Have I received 10 kobo from Ojukwu or his family? Do they even know whether I exist or not? But for the sake of posterity, let us keep our record straight. When Moses came out into the wilderness, Dathan, Abiru and the rest of them attacked Moses. They have many genuine reasons to bring Moses down. They said to him, you are a stammerer, and you married a black woman. Because when the Bible tells you about Moses, he married Ethiopia. They will now paint white people. Let's not go there anyway. And God said to them, I have been sending you prophets. I've been sending you wise men and great men. All of them, you killed them. And if you continue this way, I will not send them again. The level we are going, trying to undermine genuine Biafran citizens, fighting to restore Biafra. Very soon, if we keep quiet, you will discourage everybody that have the capacity to deliver us from this evil enclave. And so you see, it's some of the reasons we are doing what we are doing. Coming back to Ojukwu, let me sing that song again. Ojukwu wanted to fight Nigeria. Go and say Nigeria must win. We are going to fight together to make Nigeria one. I was not born during the war. I was not born after the war. When the war stopped in 1970, I was not born, for God's sake. How could it be that maybe 5 years or 10 years after the war, then I was born? How could it be I was being taught to sing against Ojukwu? I don't even know who he is. And so if he has common respect, simple respect among his people in a time like this, you should understand he has the heart of angel. He is gone. He has his fault. He has his flaw. He has never shown himself to be fallible. We will quarry our brother Nnamdi Kanu as an idiot that he is. It is not the hatred we have for him that drives us. After all, it's on record we defended, should I say his cause, more than any of you. But the way he is going, the way we saw him going, it's going to be a very unfortunate situation. And under our watch, we can't let that happen. We tried our best anyway. So don't misunderstand me. Don't misquote me. Ojukwu, having graduated from the university, spent some few years as a civil servant, he joined the military. And in the course of joining the military, there were crises. People saw this evil happening in Nigeria today. Chukwuemeka and Zogo, as I was reliably told, while they were somewhere in United Kingdom having a meeting on how to govern Africa in the midst of other African leaders. Of course, all of them are military. He had a vital secret information. They all had the mind of one Nigeria. They all love one Nigeria. They all want one Nigeria. That is what led to the Igbo coup. Of course, my lovely brother Ifajuna, they all want one Nigeria. It was not the hatred of Nigeria that drives them, but for the betterment, great future. But Ojukwu, let's say from his extensive knowledge, believe this should not be the way. Let's see how we can manage it. Of course, armed struggle has not been the way. It is not as if it is not expected or when you introduce it is bad. But of course, you must understand the requirements. The people were not ready. Things happened that led to freedom, emancipation of any nation in the world currently enjoying freedom, unquote, world power. They all fought, they bled for it, but processes was initiated. America have to fight Great Britain. Serious fight. But you know, it was simple. The British have done enough, now they have to leave. They didn't start killing themselves, killing their brother. In fact, they allowed the enemy to coexist, supposedly the Sabo to coexist among them till this very day. And so they were different between the patriots and the loyalists. The patriots fought for one united almighty America. The loyalists want to remain slave under British, maybe because of affiliation, one thing or the other. Today, we can have 100 platform. I don't have to go and kill BSM or BMM or BMOSOP. I don't have to go and kill them because I don't like the ideology. I just need to give them gap, let them do what they got to do. Because in the end of the day, when the Constitution of Nigeria is reviewed and then 1999 Constitution is brought down and another Constitution will take its place and then it gives room to a restructured Nigeria, for God's sake, it's as good as Biafra. We are not stupid. Just that Nigerians say no more restructure. 1999 Constitution is a decree, it must stand. No resource control, no Bill of Rights. We don't want a referendum. There will be no plebiscite. Big English. They turned everything down that will give us the right to live as human. And they keep telling you decree number 20, decree number 40. Ojukwu came out in the midst of this confusion. The Igbo coup supposedly was averted. And of course, people died. The death of these people was not even the issue. But the people were aggrieved. How come they killed this Hausa man? They killed this Fulani man? They killed this Northern man? How come? Who headed it? Igbo man. Igbo man that is not Igbo man. They didn't kill their people. And so they misinterpreted the whole process. And then they went on against the Igbo. Ojukwu played a vital role to make sure they were peace. But the killing continued. People were being killed left and right, left and right. Ojukwu tried to put an end to this. There could be solution, not because it was the Alpha and Omega, because in no book pass all of them. In no book pass all of them. Only very few people can stand with him academically. I give it to Professor Woloshenka, acknowledge Abafemi Awolowo, and of course with great respect to Tafawa Balewa. Ojukwu did his best, but you know there is this thing when it begins to push you to make you think that you are untouchable. My brother, remember there is God. And then when he couldn't stand the killing of his people, he asked his people to come back home. Today, what are we doing? Some criminals are, hey, sit at home. If we catch you outside, we kill you. We don't finish it at home. Now the Kanu still dey Kuje. The other Mugu was telling you, when we finish introducing this civil disobedience, if it did not work, we will start blowing oil facility. Let me digress a little bit. Chukwuemeka want to blow oil facility. We will cripple the economic of Nigeria. Where will the economic of Nigeria for Southeast? The worst madness of Nnamdi Kanu is what is happening. Very soon they will start burning Ariaria. They will burn Osisioma market. They will burn Ubili market. They will burn Ochanja market. Because no federal government present in the Southeast. It's a deliberate plot. And now you can prove me wrong. They have some mini facility in Imo State, or Hajeboma to be precise, around that area. And then if you come to Abia State, around Asa, Ndoke, Aziz, you have oil facilities there. But let me tell you what you don't know. Let's use Abia State as a case study. Go to that Asa area. There you have so many oil wells there. And almost all the oil company representatives in the world, all of them have oil well in that community. When I visited that community, you won't know who is an army man or who is the civilian. All of them are mixed up already. The people have light. They give them, they pay them, they pay indigene there. They don't talk this on radio. They pay indigene there. They pay them like every 4 months double salary. For instance, if they pay the youth there 2,000 a month, in 4 months time they pay them 4,000, and then they continue to 2,000. Another 4 months they pay them 4,000. When I went there, and maybe 1 or 2 weeks or so, their electricity had fault. They were crying, "Oh, give us light! Oh, what is happening?" They were begging the oil, "Please give us light. Don't go, please. We need the light." Now that one you wanted, say you want blow the facility. Now your brother go first deal with you. So Chukwuemeka, send them to go to Asa, or you are going to leave Bonyi and come and blow oil pipeline in River State. Yoruba say, "Oh, to be rara, oh, timo anything." You don't know anything. So when you say, after this one, Ojukwu knew all these things. Ojukwu knew all these things. He stopped the killing. He encouraged them to stop this killing. This condition, this situation can be remedied. We are begging Nnamdi Kanu, please, let's do this way. We cannot kill our people. He was actually enjoying it because he thought if they kill us, we get a sympathy from international community. Who has questioned Nigeria for thousands of Biafrans that have been killed? Who have done that? And you are still doing that, and zombie are jumping up and down. Hey, that is Sabo, talk another thing. Nage talk another thing. You talk another thing. Ebo many fere mono. Uno mani ni wewe bu imi enya wakwa, wewe bu enya imi wakwa, wewe bu imi ono wakwa. No ro huwane ro ono agotane. Then Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu asked the people to come home, and some people say he caused war, he fought war, he brought war, he led to the death of our people. Una know the reason again. Una no get sense. Let's digress a little bit. I studied history, was part of the course I studied in school, and I remember vividly well one of the topic we studied in history class was the cause of Nigerian and Biafra war. And it was said that the cause of Nigerian Biafra war was as a result of the personality clash between Ojukwu and Gowon. And so as a child, I have always wondered, so two people have personality clash, then it resulted to war that led to the death of thousands of people. Who the heck are these people? You see how they put it? Personality clash. Ojukwu wanted to show his supremacy. Gowon wanted to show his supremacy. But Ojukwu and Gowon, to God who made all of us, Gowon is alive. They are not mates. They not be the same category. Ojukwu is a son to one of the first African billionaire, trillionaire. And I mean no disrespect, Gowon. Who is your father? You were standing in athletics, in sport, in your time. Somewhere along the line, they laid their eyes on you. You were humble and disciplined. They picked you up. So you don't not even spend half of what Ojukwu has access to. Go and ask Queen of England. The Rolls Royce he drove when he came here. Outside the donkey they were using to carry him. Who owns the Rolls Royce? When they were using donkey to carry the Queen of England along Zugelu, another community, Arugongo and the rest of them. When he came to Biafra land, Ojukwu father brought Rolls Royce, for God's sake. So what room is going to bring personality clash there? But this is what we were taught in school. Now let's come back to the real story. When Ojukwu made this call, he didn't prepare for war. If he had prepared for war, I want to believe the enlightened mind all around him, they would have had a chat, and by now we would have known. Maybe Akanebian said, no, I can't be part of this. These are the problem. And then maybe Fadeji Kimbono would have said, let's do like this. Let us see people like Enahuru, people like Edwin Clark. Let's just look at it that way. People like Ken Saruwa, people like Magnus Oroko, people like Elechi William, so many of them. People like Chinu Achibe, people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, people like Professor Ben Wamboze, people like Amechi. Forget about anybody trying to tell us what we want to hear. Do they have any competition, discussion with Dean Chukwuemeka Ojukwu as their own brother? Do they discuss with him that he now said no? They left him to his will, and as a man guided by light, you believe you got to do what you got to do. He told the Biafrans, come back. Everybody come back home. We can't allow them to be killing us this way. And more than 70% of Biafrans who had this call, they returned home. They did. The capital city of Nigeria, Lagos, feel the impact. Ibadan, to be precise, in Oyo State, feel the impact among other states. And then what was Nigeria supposed to do? They initiated police action. It is said they want to restore or recover a nation inside the nation. It was police action that killed our people. Ojukwu didn't bring war. And the last time I checked, he fought a defensive war for 3 years. And despite the fact he was fighting a defensive war against Nigerians and her ally for 3 years, they didn't kill themselves. They didn't sabotage themselves. They didn't put their energy on inconsequential matters. They focus on one thing alone. While we struggle to survive, while we battle within the enemy's line, in the midst of hunger and starvation, we must make sure we are not technologically backward. Educational sector may not be standard around the globe, but our people must be enlightened. Yes, it is true, nowhere to import ammunition, but we must learn to do chakapula, and they did it. Yes, no country in the world will give us missiles, but yet without contacting the outside world. Did you not hear they made their bomb, their rocket, they guided it well to its destination? Did you not hear they didn't buy NTN or telecommunication, Nitel? They had their own means of communication. They communicated to other parts of the world despite the fact they did not receive this very help they requested for. They made their national item. They built their army. They had their own magistrate system. They have everything they need to have. They have their army. Not properly documented, but they all serve their purpose. This is just the effort of one man. And who the heck tells me bad about Ojukwu? And yet I have not heard anybody said he ate our contribution money, because he took it upon himself to spend his father's wealth to move all of us in this rubbish. His father's wealth. Today, go and ask Nayanya, despite the fact that they are stealing the money, is it easy to ask people to contribute money? Only few people have that spirit. Some of you have sacrificed greatly for this cause. And I tell you, your children will rule this world. And I tell you, your children will stand out as first among equal. When I pray, God will not allow you to sow your seed to give this money to Yahoo freedom fighter. He say, ego banko one, ego idoshi obodo, ego imenka, ego imenka. It is say na today. It is say na today. Just look at these few days. All you have fundraising. We are raising fund. We want to feed our men. Who are these men, Kwano? Try to find out what Ojukwu did, and maybe you begin to appreciate him. But that is not enough. We just have to emulate his way. At the end of the day, they talked about pardon. They talk about going to exile. Whatever they did also ended up in trying to defend our people. It was a great blow on them because they were betrayed, disappointed, abandoned on every front. But of course, with honor, with dignity, they stood their line. When it comes to that very moment where Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu would have lowered his dignity, he stand before the global community and tell them, you see this Biafra issue, you see regarding this Biafra phenomenon, I will make no apology. I will make no apology. You get them? A gunpoint. When I mean gunpoint, not Fulani men gunpoint, not Yoruba gunpoint, not Hausa gunpoint. At gunpoint by the global community, stealing the oil and resources in Biafra land and keeping us under this inhuman, degrading treatment. At their gunpoint, Ojukwu looked at all of them in the face through the media and say, regarding this Biafra phenomenon, I make no apology. I make no apology. They just catching and they can under orientation of the documentation. How do they call his arrest? Is it international rendition orientation? I know the few pronounce them. The next thing, I'm not IPOB. I'm not IPOB. The next one, I'm not Biafra. If you deny IPOB na Biafra, you hungry. I know be Biafra. Hey, well, give me Akwibo. Give me Isiagwe. Now the Kanu begin shout, give me Isiagwe. You don't abandon Biafran flag. He forget say he say Igbos are cursed. Now they say Igbos are cursed. Igbos are cursed. Igbos are cursed. Igbos are evil. Igbos are but it's Igbo man. Now to get what do they call it? Political solution. He's not saying, hey, well, where is Isiagwe? Give me Isiagwe. Do you remember when he insulted Goodluck Ebele Jonathan because of Isiago? I would have played the audio for you, but it's not his matter I'm looking at. I'm talking about the people's general. Just ordinary where they carry and go. In less than 1 week, he denied IPOB. In less than 1 week, he denied Biafra. In less than 1 week, he denied Biafran flag. Now you are jumping. Oh, Isiago is raining. Oh, Isiago is on board. Everybody, where Isiago? Una no get sense. Okay, finally, it's an Igbo man. Igbos are not cursed again. All these little things you think you can sweep under the carpet and ignore it, it doesn't matter. These are what undermines the people. You think we don't have idiot people in Abo? You think we don't have hopeless people in Abo? Mugus from Abo? But to all his own, I focus on what I want. And they enter my way and knock them down. I focus on what I want. And the normal Abo man understand. But my guy, focus on your own. Or your state for everybody. Focus on what you want. Nobody cross boundary to go and hit another person. If you try it, you will wound yourself. Go and ask Fate Ogala another idiot. And now come and say about people are useless. About Onyamum. Onyamum. That is to tell you that after everything, you need a place to back down. We wonder now the Kanu will refuse. And when things went wrong, he jumped up. Hey, well, political solution, political orientation, I beg you come and wear me Isiago. I'm not wearing Findi again. How much is Isiago? How much is a yard of Isiago? Is it up to 400 naira? Even with the economic hike. Is it up to 400 naira? But he was arrested wearing, is it Cindy? He just a shirt and polo, almost 1 million naira. Now to catch him, go, hey, love Igbo, hey, is that different between Igbos evil, Igbos that are evil, and Igbos that are wearing Ishiago? Very unfortunate. But when Ojukwu found himself in that condition, you plead for a pardon, he came back, he stood before the Nigerian, before the global community. He said, you see this Biafra matter, I make no apology. Because Ojukwu know, if he were taken to the World Criminal Court, International Criminal Court, Ojukwu know no country can be able to indict him. No country. Forget about the lies they dish out about Ojukwu. He's an exceptional individual. He has no equal. So anybody coming to tell you Ojukwu do this, he's sinful, Ojukwu have his own fault now. If we were beat half of what Ojukwu is, we won't be here today. We cannot come out and pretend we don't know what is happening. We know what is happening now. But you cannot be leading our people to death. The same death you're trying to avert for them, you are now creating a process to encourage it. Who are you working for? Very unfortunate. We must not forget that this Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, he was a lieutenant colonel in the Nigerian army, and of course also a general in the Biafran armed forces. Let's stop there because I can go on and on and on trying to tell you who Dean Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu is, and I tell you we will not consider any other area. And then we should ask ourselves, what were his challenges and the predicament that made his mission impossible? Of course, you have the issue of sabotage within and without. We have lack of moral support and open support by friends, colleagues alike. There were this room for deliberate effort sponsored by the Nigerian state to blackmail Ojukwu and dehumanize him before all. These were his challenges. I practically cited some of them. Go on to the third area. What was his pertinent gift to the people? What did he do before he drew the curtain? What did Ojukwu do? Ojukwu did not just leave the stage. When he returned after the supposedly pardon back to Biafra land, he constantly advised our people. Go and ask Chief Raphael Owazurike. Ojukwu constantly advised them. All the politicians, go and ask Rogers Okorocha. Maybe, let me just reserve my word. He constantly advised them. He knew that the de facto customary government is a way to go. Ojukwu understand that the de facto customary government is a way to go. When ABGA was introduced, it was meant to save our people. But what happened with ABGA? He continued pushing. He entrusted this mission into the hand of few individuals. I don't know why Rogers is not there. Maybe how he found his own share in the Nigerian state until he began to shout politics. Or maybe he's still there trying to see how he can help us. Because if he can give him now the kind of 5 million, maybe he has good deal. Or is it 500 million? Then maybe Chief Raphael Owazurike would have still be doing more than he's doing. But Onanekano taught him a lesson. Destroy him completely. Who is leading, taking Ojukwu's advice? All the advice he gave to, who is working by it? And he told you we have fought a war. The second war is no more necessary. His parting gift. But the journey must continue. We have fought a war, the second war is not necessary. Did he say the self-defense is not necessary? These people no get sense. Did he say the self-defense is not necessary? He said the second war is not necessary. If we have the privilege to, sorry, just one or two challenges. If we have the privileges, the opportunity to showcase what we have in stock under a legal platform, you will understand. Not all these things we are doing now. Ojukwu didn't say you must understand there is no need for self-defense. But what we are doing now, is it self-defense? IPOB eventually has broken down to small petty criminal picking pocket armed group. They are jumping everywhere. Oh, we are non-government. Killing your own people. But our people cannot see how these things may end up eventually. If our people are not called to order, we will still be here. We pray we don't get to that level, but we will still be here. Ojukwu tried to put government in place. He tried to redirect our people. We are Nigerian. Did you not hear how he gave his introduction on the closing part of it? He was a lieutenant colonel in the Nigerian army, and then the general in the Biafra armed forces. He made proper use of his dual identity, and he died as both. He died as both. He may not profess Biafra because there was very little he could do. But Nigeria acknowledged him as a Biafra till death. We read newspaper. Once you hear Ojukwu call fire, they must settle. But today what are we doing? Is killing our people actually self-defense? Who are you defending yourself from? Let us introduce civil disobedience. You close your brother market, now be civil disobedient. Just 1 week, you palm Nigeria, palm am very well. Everybody cold go catch everybody. Apato yangu wishi, nuwebe name abasika sika. Leko kuku here kana. We are going home. We feel something. Now they can't want to bring his body. Let him bring it. Today, the honorable action of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu is what put fears on the global community. It is the exploit of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu and his generation is the only reason why we are here doing what we are doing. To lower the essence of government. And then we come to the platform. Like every other pro-Biafran group. The facto customary government are here to create a platform where we can be able to We are at the platform, at the position where we can be able to But will you understand? Of course, it's not for everybody. You are encouraged to go to the de facto customary government. That is the way to go. And don't forget, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu remain outstanding, exceptional. Don't misunderstand him. Don't let them tell you otherwise that is not what he is. You can say anything about anybody, not Ojukwu. He has his fault, but it's not enough to make him hide his face in shame. If he was alive, he would look at his enemy and those who are not his fans in the face, and he tell them. When he came back to Nigeria, he visited many people. For instance, he visited AZ. What is the name of this AZ of Ahuda? Ezedike of Ahuda. He visited him. He appreciated him for reason I don't know. And he left. But before going to Ezedike of Ahuda, he went to Goni. And he went to their village square. They were waiting for him, maybe for ceremony. He drove his car round. Everybody holla. He came out and he said, "Oh, now good morning, oh, now good morning." Of course, those who understand what he said, because Ogoni was beginning to see the need. Why certain areas of their life need to be looked into. The Bill of Rights. Now you get it. The people who promoted this Bill of Rights, the people who fought for at least compensation or attention should be paid to their ecological system that is being deliberately damaged by the oil exploring company. What did he gain? He was hanged, buried in an unmasked grave. He's dead. You can't even talk about it. Let's not go there anyway. He continued to advise until he died. And now we are supposed to continue from there. What have we been doing? We've not lost track. We are Biafran Nation Alliance. Because China Samuru and Nnamdi Kanu other agent Benjamin Madubugu, Bright team is here. They are going to hunt all of you down. If their cannibal cannot kill you to eat you, their sister and the police will help them rope you in. You people don't know much. You don't know much, but you will know. Don't worry. Very unfortunate. So the Biafra Nation Alliance, no big deal there. We mobilize our people. We give them protection. By the grace of God, it's God that gives protection. We empower them financially. We empower them morally. We teach them to walk upon the path of light. Though they may walk in darkness, but yet they shall see light. If you are yet to identify, administrators often come on air and give out their number. Contact them. Some of you are blind to the truth because they help you sign. Is it Adura they call it? Go and ask Efe. Oh, he's a, how did they say it? Oh, he's running from Nigeria. He's an activist. He's being persecuted. He's a Biafra. And then they give you paper. So when your brother is eating your brother, you say, no, it's not my brother, it's eating Mr. Biggs. Just because they give you paper. So why do we talk about corruption in Nigeria? Each time you are coming to blackmail me, why do you talk about blackmail of Nigeria? We must make very sure that we did not destroy the legacy left behind by this generation, their friends and their colleagues, by our attitude towards the restoration of the Biafran nation, by way of standing against everything that they represent. Instead, we must begin to look for ways to improve on our achievement, enhance on their legacy, and make sure we get ourselves to the destination. Of course, at this moment our lines are open, and if you are able to get us through the studio line, you can call in and make your contribution. But I just go back and find out some of the things Chukwuemeka, Odumegwu, Ojukwu did. Every pro-Biafran group, there is need to study what they did, their exploits, and then you will see there should be one or two things we need to amend in our ways, in our current structures, in our current platform, if not necessary, amended, they can be adopted. The government is the way to go. Creating an avenue for us to be integrated into the Nigerian society, politically, economically, religiously, socially, and otherwise. It can only be genuine representatives on this platform if it is minded by people of no interest. And as you can see today, we will rule our land. We will influence the decision of our governors, politicians, and others. We will have our freedom, and we will go home in the end. And so, like I said, the numbers are open. You can call in and make your own contribution. Our direct line is 081 221 52971. 081 221 52971. That is our direct line. For the last time, the direct line is 081 221 52971. You call in and make your own contribution this evening. We continue progressing. Our WhatsApp line is 070-815-45642. 070-815-45642 is our WhatsApp line. And then you are free to call in and make your own contribution. Do not forget, we are on Simple Radio, we are on OAP, we are on satellite, we are on relay station FM 100.5. Of course, here in Biafra land, some part of Anambra State, some part of River State, and then some part of Delta State. Of course, the one within the Obaru Axis does cast its radio frequency into the Delta State. Of course, in Sine, down to Obamusa and Onitsha Head Bridge. We must continue. At this moment, I am joined by Dr. Okado, one of our veterans. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, doctor? Can you hear me? Doctor, can you hear me? But I'm sure he's not listening. Can you hear me, please? Doctor, you are not responding.
Yes, I'm hearing you now. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you now.
You can go ahead. Good evening, sir, from here, and welcome to the program.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, you can go ahead, sir. Good evening, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I've not been hearing you. You know, I wasn't hearing you before. I'm sorry for the time. Well, Dr. ONYIBE, good evening, and thank you for having me. My name is Omeka Okado. Is just a minute. I know it should be fine now because I wanted to do something. Okay, my name is Omeka Okado. Omeka Okado is from TTC in ONYIBE province of Biafra land. Thank you, Dr. ONYIBE, for having me. And I should start by, let me greet our good listeners and friends of Biafrans all over the world and people of goodwill. Let me start sincerely speaking by extending my heartfelt congratulations to you for the wonderful lecture you have impacted us. One of very high class university in standard, and I think that you will also sink it to the commoners. That's to all our citizens. Kudos and congratulations. We need more of that because that has been our jeopardy. Our jeopardy has been that our history, mostly that of our political history or national history, Biafra national history, was denied on us We weren't thoroughly, thought of that. I mean, after the end of the conflict between Biafra and Nigeria, one of the strategy that the Federal Republic of Nigeria adopted was that of silence, to silence and eliminate anything, because they were, as Senator Ben Booth said, they were certain that Biafra will re-emerge or will be restored. So they thought that, even they were hoping that they have almost succeeded in doing that, because it was almost for that generation, to pass. They were hoping that. But I remember very well that one of the reasons the missionaries who embarked on, spearheaded by Caritas, who embarked on the evacuation of Biafran children, in their diaries that is open to the public, it was a reserved, a classified document. One of the motivations and one of the reasons why they embarked on such project, remember, first time in Africa, evacuating Biafran children, having seen the height of wickedness and tragedy that was befalling on our people, was that they were very, very convinced that if Nigerian and their cohorts succeeded in eliminating the Biafran adults or Biafrans in general, that those evacuated, that's the children, that one day they must ask a question, no matter where they are in the war. This thing I'm telling you was well documented as one of the motives for the evacuation of Biafran children, whom were taken to different parts of the world, both in Africa, Gabon specifically. It's been said even that some were taken outside Africa too. Know very well that anyway, taken to Ivory Coast, Gabon received the largest number because it was under the patronage of President Bongo. So what I am trying to say is that you see, the problem we have is this history that was, because what happened in the end of war address that Gowon relayed, one of the things he decreed against was the use of the name Biafra, that any person using that name would be charged of a treasonable offense. So what I mean, the fear, the intimidation, the threat that was impacted on our parents, brothers and sisters after was terrible. And then that gave them the way to try to eliminate all the history, everything about. So you've done well. I think you can imagine the importance of this history. It's very, 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 very important. It's very, very, very important, because I am saying this, as you know, our conversation continues on what led to the formation of this media. When we started this many, many years ago, I don't know when maybe Nanda was still in Biafra land back then. But when we started this thing, the first thing we did here in Europe was to dig into their archive that they have received. Because you can see that many of these things you've said, you may not believe it, that if we're 100, only 2 or 3 persons might be knowledgeable of what you have said. You don't be surprised. It's like that, and that's it. Because so what I mean, the first thing we did, because I strongly believe that that's the best way for the struggle. We must have people that are genuinely and well informed of where, where water passed Gary, where everything started, how it started. So the point is that you've done very well. I'm very, very glad. And if you can remember, beside cancelling everything on Biafra, regarding Biafra, another danger, the most dangerous one, which is dangerous because it's contemporary. Not only that it is contemporary, not only that it is current, but it is also being practiced by the so-called Biafrans, like the IPONC of Nnamdi Kanu. It's also being practiced by them. The one that is the most dangerous is what the historians call revisionism. Revisionism, turning everything upside down. That's instrumentalizing the tragedy and then the sufferings of people, as you can see it now, manifesting even in our own, something we never dreamt of. That's the most dangerous. If you can remember very well, you can remember when it was a big problem for me in the DOS, when they start twisting this kind of, which is the beginning of this nonsense we are seeing now. When I was insisting, saying that no to revisionism, because it's so-called IPOB, we are jumping around the street talking. They have not even done an inch of what the First Republic did. They have not done anything. It's only noise making. I even remember I wrote it in the forum and even made it public in the meeting. So what I mean is that we are faced with two things. The first one was that of elimination of everything on Biafra by the federal government of Nigeria, which they knew they have failed. And I may say that is an important victory that the present generation has been able to impact. That side, whether good or bad, the echo of Biafra is back, whether good or bad. But our wish was for the good one, or because we have suffered enough. But then the danger now, the bad aspect that is trying to shadow, or that is trying to blank the little good thing we have done, is that of revisionism. That's instrumentalization, misinterpretation of, that's falsification, scam, lies, typical of all this IPONC headed by Nnamdi Kanu. So this is the danger. So the point is that once more I renew my congratulations to you with the tribute and homage you gave to the first head of state of the Republic of Biafra. Of course, post-mortem, that's of his blessed memory, of course, and others too. That's very, very nice. And then you made the evening with that. And then the issue is that I remember mid-90s when in the university I started to make research on issues, because remember, not that from a formal or academic point of view, little or nothing was known about the Biafra, because the danger with Biafra, as I told you, over the history, one thing is that of elimination, blanking, cancelling everything that was embarked by the Nigerian government. Then the danger that the present, including us now, this charlatans, mostly that has been recruited by Nnamdi Kanu, is that of revisionism. That's scamming and misrepresentation of everything. Then another one that is within that the federal government of Nigerian elimination of traces of Biafra was that of hiring intellectuals. But you may not believe this thing I'm telling you. There was a time the Nigerian government hired international scholars of fame to write, to adulterate all the histories regarding Biafra Nigeria in favor of Nigeria. And this was one of the academic obstacles and difficulties we had when we started analyzing or evaluating the documents we find. You can see that you can rightly see the intellectual dishonesty of most of the writers. You can see the intellectual dishonesty. Even that caused my attention to the issue. Maybe you came across it, but let's give it to the consumption of our listeners. The message that was related in our forum, the Biafra government parliament forum today, that's on the issue of surrender and truce. According to the assertion made by Mr. Dele, I think one of our brothers, Dr. Ume, wrote on that. I don't know whether you saw it in the forum. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. I did.
Well, let me continue. Hello, are you hearing me? Well, let me continue.
I can hear you loud and clear. I did saw it.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. So what happened is that that issue of truth and surrender, that's the issue. Because if you see in most of the documents prepared by hired scholars, paid by the federal government of Nigeria of that time, because it was like that, because notice it. What you see all of is instrument of surrender. No one except those that were being written by the direct observers or protagonists. But what actually happened is that there wasn't any surrender. Yeah, some people maybe one might see it the other way, because remember after that too, there was one of the critics, many Biafrans were laying also something like why didn't we go for guerrilla warfare, since maybe we were that since we have gallant soldiers, they were ready notwithstanding us. So but then the war was very, very it was genocidal, because as you can see, not only that Biafra was fighting Nigeria, Biafra was fighting Britain and Soviet Union, so it was, I think the wise decision was made, but I am bringing it up for you to know the dilemma. But what I was sincerely speaking, this was direct evidence. I was in my homage, in my courtesy visit to General Archus of the blessed memory. So I tried to get certain knowledge from. I told him, because what happened? That happened around 2010 or something like that. I went home. Then it happened there was a conference in which we had here in Europe. And then the point was that I've already laid hand in a document from archive, which portrayed the original instrument of surrender as it was labeled by General Effiong. So when I made reference to that, the accused said, Victor, shut up your mouth. Shut up your mouth. Well, that's what we're telling you people. That you people should listen to us. There are a lot of falsity. So he started, he opened this thing. This was direct, and he opened the chapters, explain how it happened. That at Owerri, what happened is that, yes, it was the final battle, of course, official battle. And it was being put on ground also possibility for guerrilla warfare. Though Ojukwu has left the country. But what happened is that that they were very successful at Owerri because they were able to round up high-ranking officials of the Nigerian army, all which Obasanjo was also included. They rounded them up. That's they were in a position to eliminate all. That's majority of southern distant. That was under that condition that they reach out for brotherly a truce. And it's not even from my own personal investigation too. I traced, even I found an image that justified what he was saying, where him, even General Achuse, was together with Effiong and Obasanjo, where they were elaborating maybe on the arrangement for the truce. So what I am trying to say, he said that was what happened. But actually, as time passes within those horrific days, he understood that there was a kind of a trick coming into it, that Nigeria was perceiving it to be surrender, and he proved to be stubborn over that. When he started, to insist that they must respect what they have agreed upon, because what you can see is that, remember when they were doing this, even in the image that is available, all of them were having their actually from they were having their ranks and the military uniform and gun and batsmen. They were completely. You can see that it was because if it is surrenders, there shouldn't be anything like that. So what happened is that he said after he was even ready to kill everyone and kill himself there, so that he was confined, he was arrested and put in the Port Harcourt prison. And remember when Ojukwu left, Effiong was the head of state at interim, and the person that was in charge of the Biafran army was Achuse. So when you see why the absence of Achuse at Dodan Barracks, when they were finally went there for the final arrangement of what was agreed upon, that's still because you remember the issue came up today in that write-up. So Achuse was saying that what saved his life, why they didn't kill him, that he knows that very well, was that most of this discussion was done in the presence, in the observation of, it wasn't secret, but that the world press, most international journalists, mostly the French journalists that were writing in favor of Biafra, they were present when all these things took place. So they were afraid to kill him. So they confined him in at Port Harcourt prison. And then, as you can see, the Northern Barracks, he wasn't present. And if it is all that surrender, then just to say, being the person in charge of the Biafran army, he would have been president. So he was telling me that, Victor, there wasn't anything like that, but rather it was played over. That's by the way. Though that many of them, of the few Biafran soldiers that were of this stand that we are trying to explain, that many of them, that was what led to their being in prison after even the peaceful conclusion that was had at Northern Barracks, because they vehemently refused not to surrender. So many of them that they were sent to prison, that he was sent to prison, and then many that wanted to challenge that militarily by, not something like Brigadier Timothy Onwategu, that they were killed directly there by the. So this is it. So what I am trying to say, you can see these are most of the things that is our task, because if we are talking about restoration and trying to know the restoration we are talking about, that's part of it, because the worst mistake we can make is that when we don't get the right picture of things, we produce them and the Kano and his charlatans. That's the danger of it. That's the danger of it, when you don't get the right listing of it. So this is the issue why the topic you've raised this night is very, very vital and very, very healthy for the restoration process. So you can see now, and the process of shame. As we have said, that judicial legal suit is a process of shame for Biafra. That's the problem with a prodigal child. A prodigal child doesn't listen, doesn't take advice, and then when problem comes, it affects both the innocent. And you can see, for many of us that are family men, you see when a child is prodigal in the family too, and you're trying to let that child know the right thing or do the right thing. If he or she is not listening, one thing you will understand is that as parents, you might find it easy to understand that he's making a mistake. Yeah, but most times it's difficult also to convince the brothers or sisters of the wrongdoing that their brother or sister is doing. So that's it. That's the problem with a prodigal son. So we are in that complex and perplexity now. So the point is that the process is so shameful. We still, the Biafra de facto government still adhere and still let's focus on rule of law. Let rule of law prevail. That's what we said. Let rule of law prevail. But the only reservation we have now is that it has been is a situation that has been always rare in the Nigerian judiciary. But we wish that let rule of law, prevail. But for the meantime, it's so disgraceful the chapter that is coming up, from the part of the Defense Council of Nnamdi Kanu. It's very, very, that's. Let's wish him that the way he's speaking with the journalists, because he's trying to defend his client in the media rather than in the court. It would have been nice for him to lay more focus in the in the facts and evidence that are waiting him in the court than this anachronism, he's more interested in. Most of his judicial reasoning has been noted. We shall see how the Nigerian court will interpret location of crime. Maybe whether location of crime, we shall see how the Nigerian court, I think, is one of the point of legal argument of the defense counsel. And then the issue of predication of accusation. We shall see. Maybe, I think in few weeks' time, we shall know the difference between being accused of treason and treasonable charges. Even to the extent of wasting such energy over synthesis. But we reserve our destiny. What can we say? So the point is that the analogies and analysis is a bit embarrassing, as I said. The issue of iPunk and prescribe iPunk, that's a problem. And then the most interesting thing, because we have been in doubt of that, remember for some time now we've been talking about the issue of citizenship. And that's the issue we're saying when I'm talking about the revisionism, I was talking about. You see, the lawyer has made it clear that he's of dual nationality, that's Nigerian citizenship and British citizenship, which has been the stupid misdirection he has been given to Biafran youth. He has been masking on this, ranting different things on the air. But the lawyer said it last time, he is of British citizenship and Nigerian citizenship. He didn't renounce his Nigerian citizenship. And that's part of his problem now. So, fellow Biafrans, what is important anywhere you are, be proud to say that you are a Biafran by fact and customary identity, and a Nigerian by political identity. You have to say that by political identity. Even if you have a third nationality, maybe for most of us in diaspora, be proud to defend the Biafran citizenship by fact and customary government. So as I said, let's follow let rule of law prevail, and then let's follow the proceedings and the possible outcome of. But as I said, the defense counsel is not being a senior advocate too. I am saying it to my own right also, because I'm not a layman in the area. He's not meeting up, to. And I don't see why he should also be so distant over introducing religious fact on his defense, because that might attract Sharia aspect of it coming in now, and I don't know who will start to lament. You should be objective and face the distance. In terms of presentation, I think the prosecutor is more technical and organized than all these acrobacies coming from them. So the point is that to reiterate and to give you back the microphone, we have to remember it's very, very important that our instrument for political change is our PVC. We need to go and register for our PVC. Past Anambra election is an example, and we have seen eloquent and prudent, illustrious representatives saying it when silently when we weren't aware of anything. So they said it that this restoration can be done legally and politically without anyone killing. We have brothers killing each other. Africa, we have suffered enough with these wars being instigated by external people, that we finish up killing each other. Whereas Western world, matter or issues like this of Biafra and Nigeria, they will settle it in a round table, and but if it's Africa, they will instigate us to killing each other. So enough of that. Let us make use of our civic political education. Go and get your PVC. ONYIBE, thank you for giving me this opportunity. As usual, I'm glad to speak in your program. Thank you very much, and then good evening from London. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me, sir. We must continue. Thank you very much. And good night from here. And of course, still toying on the point of trying to remind us about what Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu represents to the people of Biafra. And it is not something anybody can. You cannot fault him, but neither are we saying he's perfect. And let's just have a little rethink. How old was he? How old was he? And sometime I want to begin to feel, I wish I was not born in this era. How old was Ojukwu? Everything you are telling me or we are seeing about Ojukwu, all these things happened within the ages of 27 to 32 years. Imagine a 32 years old boy. How many 32 years old Nigerians today have their senses intact? This journey began 27 years of age. And 27 to 32 is how many years? It is how many years? And so as the general of the Biafran forces, he was 32 years, for God's sake. And when he worked with the as a civil servant with the imperialist capital in Niger State, Zungeri, he was less than 27 years. How many of you intellectuals, your children at this age, have a moral standing to manage your own family, their own family in your sense, not to talk of a nation? But of course, we must remain focused. There are so much we need to learn from him, and if we are able to apply some of these principles at our disposal, follow their pattern, do what is necessary, I tell you, we will make it. We will be able to make it. And our people should understand that the journey has just begun. I'm bound by my daddy in the Lord. Can you hear me, Sam? How's your baby?
My Reverend, am I coming out clear, please?
Yes, you are coming out loud and clear. Go ahead, Sam. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, my brother. I don't think I'm going to take that much because of commitments here around, but I just wanted to join this program and say thank you to you, and I will say good afternoon to all Biafrans and all lovers of freedom that are listening. And my name is Obi is from Oba. Oba is in Onitsha province. And I want to thank Dr. Kado, who had joined me this afternoon. My Reverend, I'm so pleased, let me put it that way, pleased with you this afternoon because of the topic of choice this afternoon. And I'm glad that you were able to make that presentation pretty good. I don't think no one else can do better than you. I'm so pleased with you, my brother. Thank you so very much. because this issue, I don't know. Sometimes people try to start something or trying to create a wrong narrative. And two simple questions we ask them, they cannot answer that. Okay, so I'm sure that there are a lot of Biafrans, a lot of people who understand the news can give me credit for today's lecture. There's nothing I will add to it, but wherever somebody is, they should think about whatever they may consider the true story. We know that Ojukwu attempted to find a lasting solution to the problem that was in Nigeria. Then after he could, they went all the way to Ghana to try to resolve it. We know today the people that scuttled the effort. We know about the permanent secretary, the Oba at that time, and the role he played. We know about the British interest, which is primarily the problem, because I cannot, up to tomorrow, I can still imagine that somebody says, we are not the same with you. Because that's the impression we get in that contraption. They give you the impression that we're not the same with you. We are better. We are supposed to be your leader. We are supposed to rule you. By the way, the hate speech from 50-something that we hear today, which was declassified, where this man was openly saying that the reason he hated Igbos, was saying that the reason he hated Igbos was that if you give them a chance in a company tomorrow, they will come out and become the head of the company. However he wanted it, I'm just paraphrasing. This is something somebody said is out there, and someone will be asking. Sometimes I ask, does it mean that nobody had this information until lately? Does it mean that? Okay? Because that's a classical hate speech to tell you how they're looking at you. And then we have this other faggot that came to Bayelsa to tell them that the oil that is in Bayelsa belongs to Jigawa, and everything that is found in Bayelsa belongs to Jigawa. These records are there. It's right in our faces. And then they tell you that they don't even want you to control your destiny. You can't rule over them, and they will make sure that you don't that you yourselves will not control your destiny. And then we're having this discussion today for somebody that gave all he can to set his people free. Be it ego, be it selfishness, be it who amongst you today can do what he did? Some of you have money to help with this situation, at least in terms of lobbying. Ben Gurion then did it for the Israelis after some times in exile. It wasn't poor people. It wasn't the Ndokada. It was the men that saw that the treatment they have received over the years wasn't okay. And this is the reason Ojukwu came out. Through all his father's wealth in this state. Ndị nọ ya nso zikọrọ nke zikọrọ. Today mmadụ ekpere pụọ n'isi na Ojukwu mere nka. Ọ undermining the fact that it wasn't a face-to-face with Nigeria and Biafra. Undermining the fact the other external influences in that civil or whatever war, the genocidal war. We forget that the Arab leagues were involved, the USSR. Because when we say Russia, we're limiting the size of the power that came and fought us for what belongs to us. British was there, and so many other people that we don't know. They descended on Biafra, massacred over 3-something million. Instead of us to stand on Biafra and continue to push, if you cannot push, you release your wealth for people that knows how to press the button, just like the Armenians have done with the Russians. Today, Armenians have taken their case to hold Turkey responsible for 1919 genocide. 1919. Genocide was just a few years ago. And who is supposed to be helping to push this agenda? We are behind the selling different kinds of narrative. So apparently it make us turn against Ojukwu. God forbid bad thing. God forbid bad thing. I don't know what it has bewitched us. To turn against a man that cried and saw the pains that his people were going through and said, no, he will leave whatever he has. He's not selfish. If he's selfish, he will help and sell all of you, just like the ones today do. You sell everybody because you don't have money. Okay? But this man spent what he has. Came back from exile because he learned his lesson. What they tried did not happen. After all, everything they did. And thanks Dr. Okada for always emphasizing on the how organized these people were at a very young age. Today, people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they're still blaming Ojukwu. And you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything for your people. All you are doing is posting and sharing. I will always say this. Zeke said it. That's all you are doing. You cannot step out and join and help extricate our people from this mess. Because we are still in the same mess. He came back from exile, mobilized these people again. He said, we are not fighting. We are going to do this way again. Now, tell me, all of them that we mobilized, all of them that we mobilized, including people which are so called Chukwuemeka, in nearby, in Ghana or Chekwas. Name them. Where are they today in this course? The people that actually fought it till they moved beyond the other side of the wall. Was this actually? I mean, who else? What's his name? Ikedife. All gave up because of this idiot Mandikano. They gave up. And somebody is waiting here to sell narratives to make us feel like Ojukwu was wrong. I mean, what in the world How in the world can somebody think in that fashion? Think in that fashion. He came back again. There's nothing he did. He went to Lagos. He told you concerning the properties that are being destroyed today. He warned you guys. He's even murderer. He brought himself too low to help his people. And I'm glad. I'm so thankful for you, my reverend, the way you explain this thing to show the difference between this guy and Gowon, to find who is Gowon's father. Even Obasanjo and our boy we didn't even know them. Who is he? We can't have. But today, those are the people that are trying to talk about Ojukwu. I'm already. So there's nothing to say. You think you are living in heaven, but you don't know you are living in hell. If all you can do in this world is to leave a terrible legacy. And I'm glad you acknowledge Awolowo. Because Awolowo was able to look after his people. Take the UPE. Up to today, Obasanjo is going around dancing with all kinds of women with fat nyash. What has he done for the Yoruba people? Okay? When we're talking about this thing, it seems like every time we talk about this entity called Nigeria, we always go back home to know that we are different people. What is wrong with coming together and saying, okay, let us go back and still be one? Because when you respect me, when you allow me to control my group, you control your group, everything will move smoothly, not this mumbo jumbo. When they raise a little money they give to one idiot in Igbo land, and he will come there, mobilize a cultist, and they'll be killing people. Is that what we're witnessing to? Because sometimes they can mobilize to come and kill our people. Is that not what we're witnessing? And it's out of control. The federal government is sitting, or the terrorist government, I call them, is sitting and acting that they don't know what to do again. The so-called governors are pretending as if they don't know what to do again. When you say you're a governor of a state, when we tell you all they do now is to spread money. Meanwhile, your people are dying. You're showing money that you don't have just to be on top of everybody. Let me allow other people, callers, to maybe come in and make their contribution. But I'm asking people, it's high time for all of us to stand up. Make yourself accountable for the Biafra de facto customary government. There is a framework with which we can restore our nation. And I know that all efforts, both people coming out now to say Biafra is not in existence, Biafra is fraud and everything. Those sponsors that are sponsoring you, you're going to see your tongue is going to fall out. Because you cannot tell me that if you search Biafra online that you will not see it. So I don't know what made it fraud. I don't know why people cannot look at what has happened to Biafrans. The 3 point something and counting has given their lives, and we're trying to undermine this name. This is the only name we can hold back. Anybody that has been a part of hurting us, this is the only name that we can hold to get the back. In as much as they want to subdue the name, this name stands. So we will continue. People need to make themselves available, but as you come, you must tell yourself the truth. You must humble yourself. Because those are the two things we require And then we're going to do what the international community asks us to do, and we're going to restore the land. Thank you very much, my brother. May God continue to bless, keep, and preserve you. All hail Biafra and Biafra and all of us of freedom.
And thank you for joining me this evening. Of course, we will continue to make our position clear. There is need for us to be enlightened. We must focus on the real issue and agenda. The issue of Biafra must be discussed. The issue of Biafra must be reviewed. The project must be brought to a conclusive end. Let nobody deceive anybody. Nigeria does not have a moral standing to challenge what we are doing. And the earlier we begin to monitor the journey so far, the better for all of us. Come on WhatsApp, can you hear me?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother. You're welcome to the program. Can you hear me? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. This is your brother once more, Ojukwu. So I want to commend you, Ojukwu, for your efforts you are putting, and commend all our other broadcasters also for the job they are doing to reset the brain of our people. I thank you, and I must encourage you to keep it up. Keep bringing the message of truth to our people, the undiluted truth, just like as you just said. Keep bringing it to our people. So I'll go straight to the topic. Maybe I will start from the event of the 1966, so I can brush it up from there. You know, the coup, the 1966 coup, which was supposed to be, or should I say, the genesis of the problem that is still affecting the Nigeria till date, which was formerly tagged Igbo coup, of which it was not. I, from my own perspective, I've read several books which are pro-Nigeria and pro-Biafra, and also spectators, those written by spectators, those that don't support that want to be just objective, the way they see it, everything. So I've read several books, both from outside Africa and in Africa. So I just want to share a little, also from some also the coup result and the first and foremost, because there were several other people who have Yoruba guys there, and there is something people are not getting through, we have some northerners who may say they may not reflect in the list of those people that carry out the coup, but I will inform them this now. I have the video, and this was said by a Yoruba journalist. I have the video, maybe I will circulate it after. The Yoruba journalist actually confirmed that Kaduna and Zobi, after they killed the northern counterparts, Ahmadu Bello, after they killed Ahmadu Bello, and on the process of killing Ahmadu Bello, he jumps off from a building and he broke one of his arm. When he was giving a broadcast the next day, the person holding the microphone for him was an outside guy from, let me just say from North, because we have different tribe, we just call them outside guy, who was called there, who's known as Asena Hassan, who is the guy that hold the microphone for Kaduna Zogu to make a broadcast in the morning. And from this Yoruba guy that said it on television, that according to the guy's perspective, the coup was not completed because are certain set of people that should have been eliminated, but unfortunately, these people escaped the coup. Like, according to him, like Abu Ironsi, of course, books that said Abu Ironsi know about the coup, and some books said he doesn't know. According to this Yoruba guy on the video I watched also, he said Abu don't know anything about the coup. That the only Abu Ironsi survived the coup because he went for a club. He went clubbing. So, but he know the coup, and he know some guys, so some military guys that blocked the way, knowing that seeing him that is a senior officer, that's the boss, they allow him to pass, but I really also was not part of the coup. He was so many that he was, but he was not, but he ended up being a beneficiary of the coup according to several books. So this part of the genesis of the program, and according to the Yoruba guy also, Kaduna Ozogo struggled that for the mission to be completed, the coup must be completed. And these people that were not like the coup was supposed to be Lagos, that is Lagos, because the one of Lagos didn't happen now. That is where the problem is coming from. That it didn't happen in Lagos, so he broke his hand. He was forcing himself to march towards Lagos for them to complete the task, of which he was stopped. So he couldn't continue the process again. And several, even the north and south, everybody were happy about the coup until they discovered that it was just like men from the north, west and midwest, so they got angry. And but first they were happy about the coup, but that's keep that history aside, because I know Nigeria lost men that day. Somebody like Tafawa Balewa, that day Nigeria lost a man. But taking the history of that man, his achievement, he had nothing. He was not living a luxurious life like our Ozik was living. Our Ozik lived a luxurious life. He was not living. He didn't live a comfortable life, because I saw his house. He still is not there. So he was a very good man who lost that day on the coup, which sometimes I call the coup. It was a mistake our fathers made, because they should have completed it, or they shouldn't have embarked it on the first place. It was a mistake, and we only have to accept that. We have to accept that, or they should have completed it, or those people that they have marked will be assassinated. So that's story apart. Then move towards Ojukwu and the civil war or the genocide war. This was a war that should have been averted. This was seriously a war that should have been averted. But only God knows why it happened. Because we all know that Nigeria is controlled by those that created it, which is the British. Even to date, we all know that. And Nigeria is controlled by British, so British determines what happened. In America is also involved, because we are not excluded. America determines. We saw it during Obama's era. So America still have their own stake there. In fact, all the oil, the West has their influence on Nigeria. So Nigeria still their child. So this was a war probably misunderstanding, but the West blew it out of proportion, and brothers fought brothers. We spilled our own blood. We know they killed our people, but the center we also killed their people, also killed their Nigerian soldiers also. So when we cry for justice, we must cry from both sides also. So that's a part. This was a war that should have been avoided, but due to those that control the country, that we fought ourselves, killed ourselves, and I personally call it third world war, because the almighty Soviet Union was there fully. Egyptians were, in fact, the Arab world was there. Arab League then was there on the part of Nigeria. So, oops. This was a war that was avoidable. This conflict should have been settled, because one thing I still don't understand then was prior before the coup, we know 1944, there have been several riots that happened in the north, and our brothers and sisters were massacred. Once you are from south, even though the UK, black people that live in the north, if you the man that live in the north, you are killed, not just Igbo man. So I wonder, there was no coup there, nothing happened, but why were our brothers killed? Just to settle, I don't know much about what happened that caused the political party, but I don't know what happened there, because some of these things that happen in Nigeria classify those documents. Those documents are classified, and I think it's time they classify those documents for people to really understand what really happened and start teaching history in school. Because if history was taught in school, now the camera is bunch of idiots punk who will be doing what they're doing in our place, trying to turn our place into a theater of war. Do these guys know what war is all about? So I stand the reform history back and teach history objectively, not refurbish history. Treat it objectively the way it is. Say history doesn't favor anyone. Sometimes it doesn't have to favor anyone, or have to take it the way it is. We Africans were colonized. We accepted that we were colonized. Not just we were enslaved. Even the neo-imperialism, colonialism still exists till date. The thing still continues till date. But we don't have to now. Are we going to be shy that because we are colonized, we don't have to teach it in school? And unfortunately, we are teaching it in school. That's someone will tell you that I'm going to go back to discover River Niger. Where was Mongo Park father when my own ancestors were crossing the river?
Maybe let's stop the killing of things.
When my own grandpa ancestors had boats, they trade the grass to do fishing in the river. Or when my ancestors swimming in the river to fish. So this is part of the problems we have. We have to take for a while how they are going to return history back to the school curriculum, because if history was really I myself, I was not privileged to I don't have any history classes, you know. So, but I'm somebody that would like making research, reading, and all those stuff. That's why I have information that even my own father was a war veteran. Before the war, he's still alive. He's 83 years now. My friend is 83 years. Even when the war ended, Nigeria was still after him. Government was still after him. He lived in the bush for another extra 3 years. And they were still after him just because they thought he was a French soldier, because he's tall and he looks like a white guy. So they thought he was a missionary. They were after him. Even when people have told them already that this our brother, with his curly hair, they thought he was a white guy. Until he has to leave our own territory. After 3 years, they were still after him. He has to leave there and move back to Enugu. He went to Enugu. That was how I lived in Enugu several years before he moved to Lagos. So these guys, they don't know what war is all about. That's why they are there killing our brothers and sisters, raping, committing crime and atrocity. Saying in the name of Biafra, on the name of one idiot in somewhere in a GSS dungeon. So these guys have to know the truth. War is not something that anyone should pray that it happen. war doesn't favor anyone. I myself have tried several times to have a discussion with my father to tell me what really happened in the war. And I noticed several times I tried to bring up the discussion just one-on-one with him. Nobody's at home. He gets emotional, he gets angry and show me never to say such a that I should go. I should forget about the past and focus on the future. That's a bygone. But now I'm asking because I want to know what really happened. I want to know the truth. When he just tell me a little, he gets emotional. He tell me forget about it. I should go and face my book. So these are part of because he gets emotional. He's still traumatized because of what he saw during the war. He lost a brother. He lost a brother. So these are some of the things on our brothers and sisters that are misguided, jumping up and down, war. War is very expensive. It's capital intensive. So think about it is stuff that people are gonna pass through, the traumas, destructions, collateral damage before you think about war. Just like General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu said, we fought the war before, and there's no, we don't need to, we don't have to fight a second one. We don't have to fight again. There are so many ways we can make our point. There's so many ways we can prove our point, but war is not an alternative now. War is not an alternative. So the war doesn't favor anyone because both parties will lose. Both parties will lose. No matter how we see it, Nigeria felt, even Nigeria felt it also because the thousands of Nigerian soldiers were slaughtered. Their own people were slaughtered in millions, but it's worth it. So we must encourage our brothers and sisters that are killing, raping, and I also send my condolences to our brother Mazi Ojukwu for his loss, and we pray that his soul, may the soul of your uncle rest in peace, and may the spirit of those that killed him, may his spirit continue to haunt them until they are dead. There's no repentance for such people until they are dead, and may they never be very close to where he is. Those people, their bodies should be recycled for something and feed to dogs or all those lying in the zoo. That's where they should throw those guys' body into. So I must say sorry for that loss. So our brothers and sisters, war is not something that we should seek for at this moment. It's time we play to the tune of the de facto customary movement, which is guiding our PVC and navigate towards getting or making provisions for effective government in our various territories, our local politics actually. So we get involved in those local government, gubernatorial, senatorial, get involved in those things. Then we engage everybody engageable. Let's at least help our people. Our people are suffering in the house of some of these wicked politicians that are not there for our interest. They are there for their interest. We have rid of those guys out of office and replace that in people except myself.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for your contribution this evening. One or two technical challenges. And of course, at this moment, we will be bringing this program to an end. I want to sincerely appreciate all of you who took your time to call in and make your positive contribution. contribution, and my apology to those of you I cannot take your call this evening. Tomorrow is another day. Hopefully we continue from where we stop. We must check some of the exploits of these noble men, Chukwuemeka, Odumegwu, Ojukwu and his generation, and we cannot allow anybody to tell us otherwise. The de facto customary government is here to pick up from where they stop, and we ourselves must be ready to understand we have roles to play and we cannot shy away from our responsibility. Our case are clear, and of course our testament is evidence to the fact that we are oppressed people. We are targeted people for annihilation, and we cannot back down. We will not yield to evil one way or the other. We will surely find our way out of this misery. Until then, we need to keep our head up and remain focused, because the journey has just begun. Good night from here, and God be with all of us. Ndewonu. Ndewonu.
Why you delay? Come and save your nation. Why you delay? Come and save your nation. Why you delay? Come and save your nation. Oh Biafra, why you delay? Why you delay? Come and save your nation. Why you delay? Come and save your nation. Why you delay? Come and save your nation. Oh Biafra, why you delay? Jobi Masarafi, Bianu, Bianu, Bunu, Bianu, Wunda Mamiye, Bianu, Bianu, Bunu, Bianu, Wunda Goza, Gozi, Bianu, Bianu, Bunu, Bianu. Ige kweka metu kwagaka, wadae. Ige kweka metu kwagaka, wadae. Bianu, Bianu, Bunu, Kusi, na Wusaka, Yama.
War is an ill wind that blows over any good. Oftentimes, where hyperbolic conjectures escalate to full-fledged wars. Therefore, before you utter a word to your fellow man, bite the word with your teeth and see how bitter it is. Remember, materials can be recycled, but words can never.
enemy plane agafela aga m agbatu ya na pọtụ selese abegi kulele sobiakwa jealousy oyije na oyitela gbamgbam na yemeye go on emeni yene asiyemena omeni yene asiyemena omeni yene asiyemena bakumani ya lelele oyitela gbamgbam Chukwu keruwa ọnwụ si na mmehie bịa ajakangala Chukwu keruwa ọnwụ si na mmehie bịa ajakangala Chukwu keruwa ọnwụ si na mmehie bịa ajakangala Chukwu keruwa ọnwụ si na mmehie bịa Ejikana mi jaga egbu aya kata ejikana mi jaga bebi ne bapa onyaga esune mbo mambanaga isimbanaga onyaga kwani mbo mambanaga isimbanaga onyaga kwani mbo mambanaga isimbanaga onyaga kwani mbo mambanaga.
There is only one indigenous broadcaster championing the cause for the restoration of Biafra. Biafra Human Rights Radio. Of course, unstoppable and remains the beacon of truth.